Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. My name is Raymond, and in this video I'm taking a look at Avalam Evolution, a game by Philippe de Wijs, published by Art of Games. This is a two-player abstract strategy game for ages 8 and up, which plays in about 20 minutes. Now before I start explaining how to play the game and share my thoughts, I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you are already subscribed, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. There's also a Patreon page where you can support the channel, and you can do so for as little as just €1 per month or more, and in return you will get your name in the credits, early access, and also access to Patreon exclusive content. Alright, let's set up a game and get started. To set up a game of Avalam, simply put the board in the center of the table, take all of the colored discs and simply put them alternating on the board in these holes like you see here. So you put the orange pieces like this and the black pieces like this until you have filled the entire board. There's an extra piece left in the box, and we always give every player one of those pieces to remember which color is yours. That's the whole setup. Let's explain the rules. In Avalam, players will be moving discs around, stacking them on top of each other, or even stacking towers on top of other pieces, or on top of other towers, even like this. A tower can have a maximum height of 5 pieces, just like this, and they don't have to alternate colors, because every player can move any color. You don't have to only move your own pieces. You can move any piece you want. So for example, if this was the start of the game and I'm the black player, I could choose any disc on the board and move that. Now movement is restricted to one spot in either direction. Doesn't matter where you go. So for example, if I were to move this piece here, I could move it here, 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 all around, but only one spot. You also cannot move a piece, so if I move this one here, for example, I cannot move a piece into an empty space. Empty spaces stay empty. So basically every turn, a player will be moving a piece and emptying out a spot. So now the orange player, for example, could move, I don't know, this piece, for example, onto that tower. And maybe I want to move this piece onto this piece. And the goal of the game is to create towers that are yours. Now, when is a tower yours? When a tower has your color on the top and it's finished. So when is a tower finished? When it either has 5 pieces in it, so 5 is the maximum height of a tower. When that happens, you cannot move that tower anymore or add to it. You can also not make a tower smaller. So when you were moving onto a tower, make sure you don't exceed 5, because otherwise you can't move there. And when moving entire towers, same thing. If I move this onto a stack of 2, that's still possible. So if this was here, then I can move this stack of 3 onto the stack of 2, because that makes a tower of 5. And that would be my tower as well, because it has the maximum size and the black disc is on top. But a tower can also be smaller when, for example, if I place this disc on top of this tower here, now it's isolated because all the spots around it are empty. And remember, you cannot move into an empty spot anymore. So I couldn't move this tower away from here or another piece on top of this tower. So that means this tower is now done and it is mine because it has my color. This tower is also mine because it's the maximum height. Every tower will be worth 1 single point at the end of the game, no matter how tall it is or how many pieces of your color are in it. That doesn't matter. It simply means you have 1 point for each tower. And of course, the player with the most points wins the game. And you simply keep on playing, taking turns until you can no longer move any pieces. You can even have stacks of just one piece. So if this were to happen, so for example, somebody moves that piece, and the other player moves that piece away, and then another player moves this away, then this single disc would be isolated as well. So that would be a point for me. It's basically a single disc tower. There's also an additional set of rules which brings in 4 extra pieces, 2 black ones and 2 orange ones. In my case, the game does exist in different colors. One of those will have a minus all around it, and the other one will have pluses all around it, and the same is of course true for the orange pieces. So at the start of the game, before you start moving pieces, you simply pick two of your color discs and replace them for these. So maybe you want to have this one over here with the minus, and maybe I want a plus one over here. You can decide where you put them. You just put those other pieces back into the box, and then you start playing like normal. So the other player might have had, I don't know, one of the discs here and one of them here. So there you go. So what does that mean? It's very simple. If you end the game at some points with one of those pieces in the stack, so maybe this is a tower, then this is a tower for the orange player. It has both a plus and a minus in it, so it gains a point and it loses a point, so this is still 1 point. If this was stacked like this, the orange player would now score an extra point because there is a plus in this stack. So they have 1 point for having the tower and another point for having a plus piece in there. So a minus piece is -1 point and a plus is +1 point regardless of the color of the disc. So in a situation like this, for example, if there's a minus here and there's black pieces surrounding it, then I could say, well, I could take this tower, but it wouldn't give me any points because I'd only have the minus. So I could move my opponent's disc on top of my disc, creating an isolated tower. So this is a finished tower for the orange player, but it wouldn't be worth any points. So players keep on playing, taking turns, moving one piece, one spot in an area around it, until you can no longer legally make any moves. And then you simply count how many towers are yours. Every tower is 1 point. You add and subtract the pluses and the minuses if you use them. And that's all. So it's really a game of cleverly moving pieces and making sure your opponent can't grab a tower somewhere. You need to make sure that you play cleverly and of course try to make stacks that have the least number of your color in it, because it's very positive to have a tower, for example, like this, that has your color in it. So it's yours on top, but as many pieces of the opponent underneath, because that means there's more of your color pieces left on the board. So if I can do this at some point, this would be a very good tower. But then of course the opponent could do this and have a tower that's only 3 stacks high and 2 of them are mine, but there is a minus in there in this case. So pay attention to where those are if you're playing with the evolution part of the game. But those are all the rules on how to play Avalam Evolution. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Avalam Evolution. Let's start with the components, because everything you see here is made out of wood. You got the wooden board with this very strange looking shape, but it is completely point symmetrical from the middle here, and it just looks really good as well. It's nice and thick board of wood, painted white in this case with the orange and the black stones, and the stones are, you know, big enough. They're like checkers pieces. They do have the little hole on one side and the nub on the other side, so you can easily stack them because that's what the game is about, and they don't slide off. So that is very well designed, so that's good, and they look nice. And the game is also available in different colors. I've also seen a black board with red and yellow stones at Spiel, and there might be even more colors than that. I saw some oversized versions of the game, a bigger board with bigger stones as well. And it all just looks really nice on your table, and it's very colorful. So the components are excellent. It comes in a box that just fits all the stones in a little vault in the middle, and the board sits on top. So the box isn't bigger than it needs to be, which is also good. And you could actually just leave this on the table somewhere if you have the room for it, because it looks nice, and people who are coming to visit will automatically spot it and will ask you about it, and then you can play a quick game because it doesn't last that long. So that's always a good conversation starter. So a reason to start a quick little game. And yeah, so usually I also talk about artwork and theme, which I will skip because this is a two-player abstract strategy, so there is none of that. And so the gameplay, I think, is really fun. It's super easy to explain. There's just a few rules. All of the rules are on this single little leaflet here, which is double-sided, and the game comes with several languages. I had an edition that came with English, French, German, and Dutch. And it also comes with what they call the evolution part of Avalam Evolution, which is these extra stones. There's 2 black ones and 2 orange ones in my case, or whatever color you pick, of course. And they have pluses and minuses on them. So there's 1 orange plus and 1 orange minus stone, and the same with the black ones. And you just replace 2 regular stones with these 2 on the board. And then you will have these extra points. Basically, this is an extra point in your tower. So if this one is in, then a tower is worth 2 points. Or if you have 2 of these in and the top one is yours, then you have 3 points for a stack. And of course, if you have the minuses, then that subtracts a point from that tower. So that adds another layer, a little bit more expert gameplay to an already really good game. Like I said, gameplay is fast. You can, of course, take your time thinking about your turn, especially at the start of the game. The first moves will be quick. Then you will be starting to think about a couple of moves ahead. What will my opponent do? What are their options? And what are my options after that? You're trying to figure all of that out. So at some point, it'll get a little bit slower. And then towards the end, it will be faster again because there will be less options to move. And at the end, the final moves are very quick, of course. So, you know, once you get used to the game and used to what options you have, you'll probably at some point start seeing patterns and strategies that will allow you to play faster. So the game does speed up the more you play it, and I do like that as well. And it's just a really fun game. So the gameplay, in my opinion, is very good. I love abstract strategies like this, just a quick 2-player game. And because it's relatively quick, you know, you can play it in about 20 minutes faster if you're used to the game, then you're likely to just set it up again and play a second game. So the replayability, in my opinion, is also very good because you just like to play this again and again and again, which is the case for a lot of, you know, faster abstract strategy games, just like checkers or backgammon or tuned, which is also going to be reviewed on my channel. So replayability is good. And then lastly, the language dependency, except for the rules, which is again just a single leaflet for the core game and the additional rules for the evolution part here. The game is, of course, fully language independent. It's an abstract strategy game, so once you know how to play it, you just explain it in 5 minutes and you can start playing. So that also gets a thumbs up for me. Now, I'd like to thank Art of Games for giving me a copy to review. I'm having a lot of fun with this, really appreciate that. And I hear, at least they told me at Spiel, that Art of Games is looking for distributors of the game in other countries. So if you're a publisher and you're interested in abstract strategy games like this and you'd like to get in touch, check out their website, artofgames.com, and get in touch, and maybe they can find ways to distribute this in your country as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and please also check out my Patreon page by clicking the link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.